Hi, and welcome to What's New in Jenkins LTS. And what is today's? Oh, hang on a second. Hang on. Hang on. This is Pro, isn't it? Okay, now I'm back. Boy, this was a new one. I need help. Mark, help me out, man.
Hey, Darren.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I forgot to turn off one thing. I was hearing myself about 5 seconds later.
Awkward. Really tough to talk when it's your own voice.
Especially 5 seconds later.
Right.
Okay. Anyway, hi, I'm Darren. This is over here is Mark. And we both work at CloudBees. But on top of that, Mark is what are you today? What day of the week is it? Documentation officer
I'm
with the Jenkins Community
documentation
Project.
officer. That's right.
And we're here doing this. We're back on track now. I know it. I feel it. I think we're okay. We get together usually a day or two after. Today happens to be the day after a new Jenkins LTS release. And this week was 2.346.2. And which means it was a pretty quiet release, thankfully. Right?
It was. The volume of changes relatively small, as you'd sort of expect from a .2 release. And this one, as opposed to the last LTS line, was not a security fix. So the .2 and the last LTS line was a security release. So this one, without that, keeps it fairly small.
Andreas, good to see you. Thanks for being here live with us today. Mark, just in case people haven't seen this, and if you're brand new to this and you just saw that train wreck at the very beginning, it's usually not like that. In case people don't understand what the Jenkins LTS process is, why don't you go ahead and explain what and how that process works?
Sure. So Jenkins long-term support releases are selected as a baseline about every 12 weeks. The baseline is selected, and that baseline is a weekly release. We then spend a few weeks identifying any regressions that need to be fixed in that baseline, and then we deliver an LTS derived from that baseline called .1, 2.346.1, .2, 4 weeks later, .3, 4 weeks after that. We focus those things intensely on stability, so we look for things that will assure us that content is good and solid, and that it's going to be a good release for people. Now, that doesn't prevent us from doing exciting changes and interesting changes. They've had time to be prepared in weekly, they've been tested and checked in weekly, and LTS is a nice place to give them to an even broader community. Oh, you're muted.
Is it Monday yet?
It feels like a Monday, doesn't it?
Wow.
I tell you, it was an exciting one yesterday as well, so that's great. This fits perfectly. It should have been uneventful, and there were plenty of bumps and bruises.
Let's go ahead and break the fourth wall even more than I already have.
Okay.
We were talking before we went live about this week seems to be filled with a ton of meetings.
Yes.
Over in the chat, has your week, so anybody that's watching live right now, has your week seemed to have had more meetings this week than normal? Just put it over in the chat. Because for us, it's been like, what is going on?
Right, and it's been community noise. It's been surprises here, surprises there, and that's just been the nature of it. I don't know what it is, but it's been that way for me.
Are your grandchildren with you today?
No grandchildren.
Rats.
So fairly
Okay.
calm and mild
So it's quiet
that way.
today. All right.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the release notes. So the very first point, and looking at this before we get started, we have the icons at the top, and hey, it's all sunny right now. That's good. Nobody's complaining. No big storms. It's good.
That is good. So those icons are and now we rely on users to complete those, and users should remember that when they've done an install, it's a kindness to the rest of us. If you had a good experience, no issues, you click on that sunshine icon. If there was some surprise, you click on the cloud in the middle. If you had to roll back, you click on that right-hand one and you give us an issue ID so that other users know what that issue is. And
Yep.
and it's a kindness that we appreciate community users who help with this. We understand not everybody does it, but we like the feedback we get even from the relatively few who do it.
Yep. Andreas, he piled in. It did. This is the meeting. Yeah. What is it? Was it National Meeting Week? I mean, I know this weekend is National Ice Cream Weekend or something, which I'm ready for. Like maybe even today. Today may become Saturday. But there was also another little treat in this release, and it's the removal of install dash plugins. Do we need a sad trombone for that? Because
We actually don't. I'm kind of
Okay.
proud of this one. All right, 18 or more months ago, we declared the deprecation of a shell script that had been used for a very long time to download plugin versions.
time out.
And go ahead.
How long has that shell script been in play?
Oh, I think it's been there since the container image was created, so probably 6 or 7 years by now.
Just a little bit of time.
Yeah, it's a mature shell script, certainly. And shell scripts are not a great way to manage Java component dependencies, right? There are things you just can't do really well. It did surprisingly well for being a shell script, but shell scripts just aren't designed to do dependency management. And so we, 18 months ago or so, declared, hey, this thing is deprecated. Thankfully, we had the Jenkins plugin installation manager that had been created as a Google Summer of Code project several years ago. I think it was back in 2019, and had since then gone through multiple improvement cycles, additional improvements, and it's now quite a mature tool and does a really good job of managing plugins using the logic that's in Java code.
So now we say adieu to install plugins.sh.
We do. Please use
Or
the
did.
Jenkins-plugin-CLI script,
Yep.
and it will invoke the Java code for you.
Right. Now, there's even more in-depth detail about this within the upgrade notes.
There is.
And-
That's correct.
So, and it goes back talking a little bit more about Mark gave some of the history. Some of that history is shown here as well. So, since we're here already on the upgrade notes, this was the only item of note for this .2 release. So that's good, right? There's
Correct.
nothing major here. And in fact, this only applies if you're running Jenkins from within a container image.
Right. And that's the primary use case. Wholehearted agreement. Some of us, okay, me included, occasionally will manage even a package manager install, like on my Red Hat system, where I'm actually using the plugin installation manager to track its plugins. However, that's very much the exception rather than the rule. Most people who are using plugin installation manager or using scripted management of their plugins are also doing them from a Docker container.
Correct. Okay. So that's that one. Now, what else? A handful of bugs. That was pretty much it.
Right, some bug fixes that I like several of them because they show, for instance, this radio button offset. It's a relatively minor, few pixels offset, but it hints that the people who are working on user experience and UI are very, very serious about trying to make that experience a positive, good experience for users, so it just feels smooth to them.
Anything else you want to call out?
Oh, I like the very middle one I was involved in. Show all log messages when an inbound agent fails to connect. Okay, this was a little bit of a surprise. So what happened was there was a change that caused that when an inbound agent connected, only the first log message would be recorded. All subsequent log messages were suppressed. and in case of how we detected it was, there was a failure because we've started rejecting really ancient remoting versions. We've started rejecting connections from versions we no longer support.
Right.
And that rejection, I was testing it. And while testing it, it did the correct rejection, but there was no helpful message telling me about the rejection. And the reason there was no helpful message telling me about the rejection is because the log messages were being dropped. And this fixes that. So log messages are now correctly retained.
That's pretty interesting.
And a relatively narrow thing, right? Only for inbound agents, not for outbound agents. Oh, and only since 2.310. It's hey, there are some interesting things that happen.
And that's quite a bit of time, too, if you sit back and think about it.
It is. It's well, and that's part of the dismaying thing, right? Is I've
Yeah.
probably seen the manifestation of this bug multiple times,
Yeah, but it just went
never chased it all the way to ground because I thought, oh, I must be doing something wrong, and no, there was actually a problem in the code.
Isn't that pretty humbling?
It is.
When you live in this day in and day out, and it's like, you look at this and it's like, we missed that for 40-ish releases.
Right. That covered a full LTS cycle, right?
Yeah.
There was an entire LTS cycle covered by that regression that none of us detected it. So lots to learn, lots to do in the world of software.
Okay. Anything else you want to call out here?
No, I think that's it.
This is a super quick and easy one, and we expect in 4 weeks, which should be back on the normal 4-week release cycle. So that's the August 12th, 13th, somewhere in that ballpark. We'll be back to talk more about that, but don't leave yet because we have a couple more things. Coming up in the end of, wait, why is that not working? This is number 3, okay. Coming up at the end of September, in the most magical place in the world.
Right.
Des Moines, Iowa. Des Moines, Iowa.
Orlando, Florida.
Orlando, Florida.
Not Des Moines, Iowa.
Is Devops World, which Mark will be at. I will probably be at if everything goes according to plan. And our company, CloudBees, is one of the primary sponsors for Devops World. Actually, the primary sponsor for Devops World. And you can register now. And you might be saying, well, why would I want to go to Orlando in September? Okay, schools are already back in session. So in case you want to go to the places that are the theme parks, it's usually not as bad because it's September, help me again.
Yeah, 27, 28, and 29.
Okay, 26, 27. So just so you understand what this is, training and certifications on both the Monday and Tuesday. There's some regular workshops on that and a welcome party that evening. And then the normal conference things for 2 days. And then a big closing party at the end of Thursday. So this is not on property, but it is adjacent to property. And if you're used to the Orlando, Florida, that's usually meaning you're next to Disney. So it's on premise at the Orlando World Center Marriott. But we have a discount code. Now, you can't tell anybody about it, right? This is just for people that are watching live. Okay. If you're watching right now on the YouTube page, if you're not in-app or whatever, if you scroll down in the notes, and this is the reason why I was hearing myself earlier, if you scroll down in the notes for today's video, you're going to see a Devops World 2022. You'll see a link to where we just were. Actually, may deep link you into the registration page. And there's a discount code. Right now, the pricing is... Mark, do you know the pricing off the top of your head?
I don't.
Here, let's go to register, because this is where I land everybody. Oh, that's not what I wanted, people. Come on. Okay, the pricing is... Here it is. Pricing is $13.50. I should have known that. $13.50. But with this discount code, you save $400. Am I doing the math right? Please help me do the math.
You are doing the math right. That is correct math.
By using this code, DW22 Jenkins RTE, that'll get you down to $950. So a $400 savings.
Well, and we would love to have you join us.
Absolutely.
That Tuesday, we're going to do the Jenkins Contributor Summit. The
it's on Tuesday.
It is. So Tuesday will be Jenkins Contributor Summit, and we're assembling the agenda now. We're looking forward to having multiple officers there, looking forward to presentations by end users. We'll have a review from the UX Special Interest Group on additional changes that are coming and how things are working there. Security team members will be there. It's going to be a great day for us to talk about Jenkins and where Jenkins is going in the future.
And the key part to this is it is in person.
Yes, that's correct.
There is not a virtual component of this.
We will not do a remote component, particularly of the Contributor Summit, because we want the rich interactions that come when we stand around whiteboards together, when we scribble at tables together, when we can break up into groups really quickly and then reassemble.
Do we know how to do that anymore?
I know. It was a lot of fun. The Contributor Summit we did at CDCon, but we were relatively fewer people, and we're looking for Devops World. We're confident it'll be a much larger group. We've already got confirmed attendance from a larger group than we had at CDCon. Really excited.
Cool. So again, September 28th and 9th,
Right.
but the 26th and the 27th are pre. And really what we're talking about specifically right now for the Contributor Summit is September 27th. That is a Tuesday.
That's correct. So we won't take you away from the primary presentations of the conference, the 28th and the 28 and 29, right? The Wednesday,
Correct.
Thursday. We want to be sure you get those, but that Contributor Summit is a great opportunity for you to come help us choose the path forward for what the next generation of enhancements for Jenkins should be.
Now, you've got a session coming up too during
I
the normal
do.
2-day.
I
What's that
do.
about?
So we're going to do a contributing to open source workshop. 3 of us, I hope even more, will host a session where we're going to spend 2 hours with the goal that by the end of the 2 hours, every person in that session will have contributed in significant and relevant ways to one or more Jenkins plugins so that they can help them along. We're going to take the kinds of concepts that Darren and I did earlier on modernizing a Jenkins plugin and take people through those experiences live.
And that will set you up very good because just a couple of days after that, Hacktoberfest starts.
Exactly, right. And these techniques we're using are great candidates for people to use for further contributions October 1 through 31 as part of Hacktoberfest.
See, I'm paying attention. I just don't know the dates, but I can put that together. Okay, so let's sum it up. So the new release of LTS 2.346.2 came out yesterday, whatever yesterday was. It was July 13th. In 4 weeks will be the next LTS.
Right.
But one thing we haven't said today, and we need to say it. In 8 weeks, Java 11 only.
Yes, that's a good point. So we're talking, it's a good reminder. All right, we've talked and reminded in multiple sessions previously. Let's remind one more time. Jenkins 2.346 supports Java 8, Java 11, and Java 17. This is the last LTS baseline that will support Java 8. When we choose the next LTS baseline, it will be a baseline that no longer supports Java 8. So you need to move to Java 11 now and get ready for that so that when September comes, your transition is not both Java 8 to 11 and a new LTS, it's just a new LTS. So make your transition to Java 11 promptly. Get it through, be sure you understand how your systems are behaving, etc., so that when September comes, you're ready to adopt the new baseline that requires Java 11.
And that new LTS is going to be picked in probably about 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah, I think it's somewhere 2 to 4 weeks, so yeah.
Because it usually happens around the last LTS.
Yeah,
right?
it's in that timeline. Yep.
Okay. If you don't catch anything else that we've said today, that last part about Java 11, you don't want to be doing Java 11 and upgrades all at the same time.
Right.
It's summertime for us in the Northern Hemisphere. It's winter, which is even worse down in the... Wait, I said Northern Hemisphere, didn't I? I said Southern. Summertime in the Northern, winter in the Southern.
Mm-hmm.
Most people are on vacations. Now's a great time just to be upgrading Java without anybody knowing about it. Just do it. Right.
Yep.
It's we're sort of laughing, but come the September when you go to do your Yum upgrade or you do your Docker stop and Docker run, and then, well, actually Docker won't be a problem because Docker is already running 11. So this is for people that are running what we consider a traditional way of running it. You're doing it bare metal, virtualized, whatever. Within Docker, it's been running 11 as its primary for...
Since September of 2021. Yeah, so we've...
Was that when it was announced? Okay.
Right. We switched the Docker container default many months ago. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, which there's also still an 8 that's being shipped up to this
Correct.
point, but that will be dropped coming in
That's
September.
correct. Right.
So, look, we probably need to do a session just about this, just about 8 to 11.
Right.
Probably.
I think...
It's not none of it's hard, but if you have friends that are actually running Jenkins, or you have acquaintances that are running Jenkins, and they're maybe they don't upgrade all the time, but they upgrade some of the time. Much like tables to divs burned a lot of people, much like a few other things have burned a lot of people, this is going to be one of those things, because the last time we've had a major JVM drop was when Java 7 was dropped in 2019.
Yeah, about
18,
then.
19?
It's 2 or 3 years ago, and the blog post that documents it shows the nice curves about how the migration process or how the upgrade process fits with diminishing use of the original Java version, in this case Java 8, and increasing use of the new Java version, Java 11.
Yeah. So now's the time. So cancel your vacation and start upgrading the Java on your... Don't upgrade Jenkins yet, but upgrade Java. Don't cancel your vacation. So that's it. We will see you again in roughly 4 weeks, as long as everything stays on schedule, which it should at this point.
Right.
I don't see a reason why not.
No reason that any of us have detected for any change of schedule. 4 weeks from now, we expect to have another LTS, and we'll keep going.
Okay. Thanks, everybody, for joining us live if you're watching the replay. Thanks for joining and watching the replay till the end. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe, and we'll talk to you again soon.